afternoon to all. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to speak in the African way. You know, I don't speak like the Americans or the British. They're so fast in so with us in Africa, we go gradually. Actually, Max have introduced me. I came to know Max in 2018 when I was the conservator of Mbi National Park, not actually Takamanda. So we've been working with Max from the time I started to pursue a project on transhumance. But before then, let me just give a short summary how I came to know US Fish and Wildlife before coming up to where we are now in CCC. I was working in the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife from 2009 as a forestry engineer. At that time, I was the chief of bureau for training. Since I read anthropology at first before going to read forestry, so there was this issue that came up of mental progress on pangolin conservation in Central Africa and Asia. So I was one of those who applied in the ministry. We are many of us actually, but I was the only one selected in the ministry because I read anthropology and forestry, because the criteria were a forester, anthropology, sociology, law, and all other fields of studies. So since I had these two backgrounds, forestry and anthropology, so I was lucky to be selected. And we went through that training for 18 months in Cameroon, actually in Yaoundé. But before the training came to an end, I was appointed as a conservator of Mbi National Park. So when I went there were still pangolins there. And there was a lot of forest burning by herdsmen because of grass, that's transhumant activities. So now I had not to, instead of continuing with pangolin first, to address the issue of bushfire. So there was a project that US Fish and Wildlife launched on transhumant activities. So I spoke with Nancy that this is a situation that I'm facing in the park that I am. So she said, you're free to apply. Then I'm going to connect you with somebody who will be working with you. So, you know, I'm in charge of just training, but I'm going to give you somebody who will be your mentor. It's then now that Nancy connected me with Max. So we started working together for the project of transhumance. And as he said, the project started and I was selected to implement that project. But along the way, it didn't take up to a year. The crisis, the agricultural crisis came up. So now instead of working from the field, we had now to shift from the Mbi National Park. We had now to move to the regional capital, which is Bamenda. So while we were in Bamenda, it never took up to 7 months. I lost my mother again. She was in Yaoundé. And now with the crisis, it generated that I'm working with the government. Our mother now is there in Yaoundé. So for us to bring her home, we have to pay close to $6,000 because I'm working with the government. As it went like that, we could not go with her to the village. We have to bury her in Yaoundé. So we buried her. Then 5 days later, we were still in Yaoundé preparing Miki. After the burial, I was supposed to go back to Bamenda. Then transfer came. That evening, they just called me, you have been transferred. You're no longer working in Mbi National Park. You'll be going back to Takamanda National Park. I say, wow. What a tragedy. So from then I have now to come and resume work at the level of the Takamanda National Park. But by then, the main office in Takamanda, because the crisis was broken and everything carried away. So we now have to relocate but at a divisional level, which is Mamfi. So that's now where we are operating at a divisional delegation of forestry and wildlife. So, but I'm most of the time based in Yaoundé because in the Southwest, we have a program for the sustainable management of natural resources that is being financed by the government of Germany. So they've been there for close to 16 years. So all the conservators in the Southwest, we are thinking 5 from different protected areas. We are based in Buea. We have working space there in the regional delegation. Since I was there, I decided now to enroll the University of Buea to continue my work on pangolin. Because as I went to the Southwest in 2019, I discovered that even those working on conservation, they don't know anything about pangolins. So when I told them that we have this issue of pangolins that have been raised in Cameroon to Class A. And each year there in Yaoundé or even in Mbi, we do celebrate World Pangolin Day. They say they don't understand anything. I said, but if all of us are conservationists, how so they have to go down to the internet. Everybody, wow, pangolin, the most trafficked mammals in the world. So from there now, I enrolled in the university, and I was lucky to be selected because then too, they still do a lot of selection in the university to take people for PhD programs. So I was selected. Then I have to start working, doing academic works, because academic works is 1 year. Then now your research continues after that till maybe when you will defend. Even though the program is stated 3 years, but nobody has ever used 4 years to even complete the PhD program. So it was from that when I started now, Save Our Species gave me a grant of $10,000 to continue this pangolin work. Then from there now, we use that money to do ecological survey in almost 83 big communities. Because my work is not only based in Takamanda. I'm working the PhD program in 4 protected areas. So there are a lot of communities. But thank God that the CCC gave me this fellowship to work only in Takamanda, which implies that those of you who are still there, I'm still like looking for funding again to continue with the other EAs. So that's just a brief resume that I can give to this project. So Takamanda, where I work, I don't only work for pangolins, because as a conservator, you do conservation in everything that is in the protected area, be it wildlife, plants, or animal species. So the focus now on my work within the CCC is because of my PhD program that I was selected now. So now I have to do by going in to bring the population so that in collaboration together, we can do the work until that moment will come to an end. So Takamanda National Park itself was created as a forest reserve in 1934 by the British administration. And in 2008, the government of Cameroon decided to raise it to a national park. So from there, a management plan was developed to go for 4 years. And after that management plan, there was a revision that was supposed to take place. But because of the crisis, and to do a revision of that, it needed additional finances. And the crisis came up, so everything was deserted. We could not go again. And the communities around that park are 32 in numbers, but 18 have direct impacts with the park. So with these 18 communities, all the activities that we are doing now involves only these 18 communities. So we don't go to other communities that don't have any direct impact with the park. And the park has a lot of biodiversity. As we can see, we have gorillas, we have chimpanzees, we have elephants, and the pangolin. Because then in Cameroon, they call me Pangolin Conservator. Because wherever I go, I promote pangolin, 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 pangolin. So they nickname me Pangolin Conservator. So these are some of the achievements that the program has been doing in those communities. Like what we have here, these are the office of the Takamanda National Park. That is in the headquarters. They call it Kajifu, a village. But now all these buildings are destroyed. They're no longer there. When you see the real picture now, bush has covered everything. Because whenever the separatist fighter knows that the military want to go there, their first attack is here. Because they know that when the military come, they're going to stay there. So they don't give room for anything inside. So when you go there now, all those the doors there have been broken and everything. So the program has been helping the communities people. We've been talking of cassava grinding machines. So like the ladies within this 18 communities, they form groups. Because the program is to help them to improve their livelihood as well, not only for conservation purposes. So here they were being trained on microfinancing projects. So this one too is a annual training that took place there before the 2017 strike started. And at first, we have eco guards like what you're seeing here, all the game guards. So they're the ones who are enforcing the law enforcement within those communities. There were 25 in numbers, but with the crisis, all of them have gone back home. Because what we have now, we are 25 as government staff. Out of the 25, 20 are francophones. Then only 5 are anglophones. So all the francophones, they've gone back to their homes. It's only us now, the anglophone, who are now narrating and jumping up and down within that landscape. So law enforcement cannot even take this again, because what we're doing now is just collaborative management and everything, so that we can just keep our eyes in the park. Because there's a lot of war, the separatists and the military. So the game guards, as you see them, this was before the crisis started, but now they're no longer there. Even the boats that our attack had, now the separatists are taking the boats so that they were using the boats in the river. So it's very, very unpredictable there. So like before I came, now the program, since we still have people who are still poaching in the park, and the poaching now is mostly with snare wires. Because when the war started, the separatists collected all the guns from the hunters to use against the military. So most of the villagers now, they don't have guns. So what they're doing now is snare wires. But now we came with alternative use of resources by providing them other means so that they can keep themselves busy instead of going to do poaching. So we give them chicks, we give them bush mango seedlings, and we give them cocoa seedlings as well, so that it will involve them mostly in agricultural activity. Because most of them, they don't do agriculture, they only depend on hunting to sell as well from the Republic of Nigeria, so that they can have income. But now we put them in these small activities, everybody can like do 1 or 2 things. And we decided again to like go to the youth who are not yet married, who are still involved in pushing. We remove them from the communities to Boya. Now the program have to sponsor them in vocational training of different sorts, electricity, auto mechanics, woodwork, and other fields. So they were trained there for 9 months. After that, the program gave them some finances, and each of them have now opened a small trade. Then they're earning money and no longer doing coaching in the field. Equally, we have what we call a community by monitoring, because we usually bring them out in the level of monthly, we train them. So now they're the one going to the field, telling us these species are there, these species are there, these species are there. So that the community people who are like doing the biomonitoring within the Takamanda landscape. Since the Eco guide could not go there again, and we don't have people to send them, so we instead use by the community people, the community youths mostly, to train them. Then they go now, collect the data that we want. We give them data collection sheets, and everything they do, they bring back reports. And we have again what we call the cluster facilitators. We divided the park into 5 clusters according to ethnic backgrounds and geological locations. Because even though within the Takamanda communities, we have 8 communities, but they speak different languages. So we decided to group them in small languages, as they call it their mother languages. So we have cluster maybe of 3 communities, other cluster with 4 communities. And each of these clusters now they produce a cluster facilitator who has to work within these 4 communities each month and bring reports to us. Then if we have other activities that we have to go to the field to implement, we follow them suit. And within the Takamanda landscape, there is a lot of exploitation going on because no law enforcement. So now everybody can do what he or she wants. So there's a lot of encroachment, harvesting of NTFP products to Nigeria. Then there are some facilities that have been destroyed. And poverty too is another big challenge within those communities. They don't have anything. So they rely mostly on natural resources that are within the park. And you as a conservationist, going there to tell them, don't go there, don't do this, they look at you with bias. So to them, these are God-given resources. But you will come, like prevent them from going there. But one thing we are happy is because the improvement that took place in that landscape has made some of them to reason out with us that conservation does not necessarily mean that you don't have to take those resources, but taking them in a sustainable manner. And there are limitations that you have to collect these resources, but don't transcend into the core zones of the park, or what we usually call the hotspots. Because even before the management plan was drawn, each community will have some 2 enclave communities. So they desire to delimit the boundaries with the park, which is that within that boundary, their own land sphere, they can collect resources to feed for themselves, but they're not supposed to cross the boundary. But because now we are not able to do patrol or law enforcement, most of them have gone across the limits of the park, and they're still collecting natural resources from the park. So those are the main challenges we are having now in the park. So now my pangolin under pressure. Look at that. That the Chinese, or let me say the Asian countries, don't want it to stay, because in the world we have 8 species of pangolin. 4 are found in Africa and 4 in Asia. But because of the pressure of the Asian pangolins, they are almost extinct. So they decided now to come back to Africa to look for source of pangolins. And when we look through research, it is shown that the pangolins, the scales mostly are used for traditional medicines in China and other Asian countries. And these are the only scaly mammals in the world. The scales are just like our fingernails. And most of these fingernails, according to other studies, it shows that they use it to make these artificial nails that women usually buy from most of our shops. So the Chinese use scales to do to work our nails and to do traditional medicines as well. And in Cameroon, we have 3 species of pangolins: the white belly, the black belly, and the giant pangolin. And as of now, within our own lands in the southwest region, we are already sure, because we've seen them, the black and the white. But the giant pangolin, up to now, we are not sure whether it is there. It may be before we go to the end of our research, we shall be able to know whether actually there are giant pangolins there or not. And look at the classification table that research was done from 2013 to 2017 when we were doing our mental health program. It shows that Cameroon is a center, a hub for trafficking. And most of this trafficking, it comes from our neighboring country, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Is a giant nation when it comes in terms of trade. So most of the skills that were caught were either from the Chinese or the Nigerians. But Cameroon were like those who were just facilitating them to have these skills. So these are just the statistics that we had from 2013, 2017, because we had to do a survey all over the Republic to actually see the various seizures that are being done by the informed authorities. And these are the various places that the seizures were actually being done, mostly in Douala, Yaoundé, because these are the 2 cities that have international airports. So at the level of the airport, the customs and the forestry officials that work there, they came across so many huge quantity of pangolin scales. And now they even derive another ways of exporting pangolin scales. They grind them. So when they were caught in the Douala port, it was in a powder form. But thank God somebody was able to dictate to the scent that if what people are carrying is not what people are telling us, but these are scales of pangolin. So they have to be locked up in Douala. After some time, they were judged. So we actually did not follow up that case to see how it ended. When we were doing our statistics still we discovered that in the southwest region where is in red, there were a series of cases of pangolin seizure and cases at the court. So we have to follow everything. But when the mental cop came to an end, we had to abandon the follow-up of everything that was going in the southwest. So this statistic came before the end of the mental cop program. So after that, we didn't follow it up again. And now when I went to the southwest, as I said earlier, because of the crisis, even the courts that are not functional, you cannot even go to anywhere to go and ask for whatsoever thing you want to do. And Cameroon was the first country in the world to burn pangolin skills. So our minister has to like summon all those Asian countries, their ambassadors that are there, and these were all the scales of pangolins that were confiscated within Cameroon. They were close to 7,000 tons, which implies that thousands of pangolins were killed for us to have this number of seizure. And finally, it was on his I think it was on the 16th of February, prior to World Pangolin Day 2017, that the scales were burnt now, and media organs carried it all over the world to show that trade on pangolin scale is not accepted in Cameroon. Then from 2016 to 2022, we've been doing pangolin celebrations each year. Like 2016, we started in Yaoundé when the mentor program started. Then 2017, the same in Yaoundé, because we're still there doing our mentor program. Then 2018, that was when I went out to Kibifungo National Park. We still celebrated World Pangolin Day. Then 2019, we went to Bame National Park, which has a huge quantity of pangolins. Then 2020 was when I was transferred to the Takamanda National Park. So Limbe, that was chosen as a regional hub to celebrate the first Pangolin Day in the Southwest region. Then 2021 was in Mafe, which is the capital now of the Takamanda National Park. We did World Pangolin Day celebration. Then 2022, we went to another national park, they call it the Bakosi National Park, and the headquarters is in Bangem. And 2023, this year, we're supposed to do the celebration in February. But because the program that we're working with that usually supply us finances to do it, it came to an end last year. So the phase now started this year, which will go up to 3 years time, 2025. The money was not available at that time. But before I left Cameroon 2 years, the money was already there. So all the preparations have been done. So they're waiting for me to go back. So on the second Saturday of this April, we are going to do the World Pangolin Day celebration at Bayambo Wildlife Sanctuary, because that's another part that I'm doing my research in. So with the CCC program, which is all centered in pangolin conservation, with the money I had first from Save Our Pangolins, we started doing our survey in the communities. And the scale counting was another project that the pangolin specialist group came out with a protocol from the University of Oxford in the UK. So we did pangolin counting to know the number of scales that each species of a pangolin can have. So these are just the pangolin pictures that we've been working on to show that we are not sleeping because of pangolins. So this is now the Takamanda National Park. So the 4 protected areas I was telling us that we're working there, you have the Mount Cameroon National Park, which is based in Buya, where most of all the conservators are found. Then this is the Bakosi National Park that we celebrated the World Pangolin last year. And this is the Bayambo National Wildlife Sanctuary that we're going to celebrate this year when I go back. And this is the Takamanda National Park where I work, where I'm the conservator. So within the Takamanda National Park, we are going to do the work in 3 clusters. We have the Western clusters, the Southeastern clusters, and the Eastern cluster. So there are still 2 clusters that we are not working now because of the crisis situation. We could not involve all the 18 communities. But the planning has been done last week, and we are going to still do a conservation collaboration agreement with this cluster. So we're going to involve this cluster this year for all activities that we'll be doing in the other clusters to continue there as well. So it may be, even if we're working there in the 3 clusters, I may go back and still use some finances to still see about that we can integrate the Western cluster in our research. So our fellowship, the CCC fellowship, which I'm lucky to be here today to be talking to you people, that we're going to involve ourselves, is going to focus on two main activities, which are the focus group discussion and the citizen scientists for the collection of data. So within those three clusters that I said, we're going to train 2 citizen scientists from each cluster, which will make a total of 6 of them. Then this cluster citizen scientists, together with our cluster facilitators, we are going to open transits where we can be collecting data. And the citizen scientists as well will follow us in the collection of our monthly data on pangolin situation, so that at the end, we are going to work together to see, even if I'm not there, the citizen scientists, since they're from those communities, we know the program of sustainable management of forest resources has been helping us very well. They will still continue to give finances, and since they're doing biomonitoring activities, I think it's going to build their capacity in many ways to continue data collection, not only for pangolins, maybe with other wildlife species, like we have the elephants, the chimps, and the gorillas. So the proposed solution is moving towards a collaborative approach for natural resource management. A collaborative approach in which way? Because in the past, researchers come, if they want to collect data, if maybe they just pick 1 or 2 persons, follow me to the forest, this is what I want to do, they collect the data and go. But this time around, we are going to train them, then together, using GPS and data collection sheets, able to go to the forest and collect our data together, so that they will be understanding what is actually going on, and even the conservation aspects of it, they will master them well. Yeah. And again, they're going to get some enumerations, because the training and the data collection will not just go free. I think that the CCC has helped us with some finances that we're going to help them, and it will boost them too, because if you are working and you are giving some enumerations, you'll be happy to do the work effectively. Because there in those communities, whatever you do without giving them something, you're wasting your time. Everybody now is happy because of a World Pangolin Day celebration, not because they're happy of the day, but in each celebration, we make sure we print more than 500 t-shirts. So when we do all our activities, we give you t-shirts, give you other gadgets to promote them to encourage them. So they are still going to have that encouragement during this our 18 months. Then data too will be collected, and at the end, whatever we're going to do, we are going to put them as part of the co-host or the co-authors of our research activities. Thank you much. Thanks everybody for coming. Yeah, well,